Hi there, brand builders. Okay, so the other day I posted a video on the 3 things that actually a lot of entrepreneurs leads to a lack of success in their business, in their brands for entrepreneurs. And one of those factors was fear, right? So after that video, I got a bunch of emails asking for more clarification, almost like a discussion on what this fear is. And so I decided to do a full video just on that fear. Now, fear can manifest in very different way, right? Different ways of fear. In terms of entrepreneurs, in terms of running a business, launching a business, setting up a business, taking it to the next level, there are several different things that could manifest as fear. And if you don't identify, if you don't slay that dragon, so to speak, then success will be elusive. In fact, self-sabotage is going to be the kind of running theme in your business, and fear fuels self-sabotage. And of course, I talked about that in the previous video. But today, let's just talk about fear. What is it? And of course, how we may be able to mitigate the fear. Now, fear is good, not just in business, but in life, right? Fear is good. Otherwise, the human population would have perished ages ago. If we did not have fear of nature, fear of animals, fear of unknown, then, it's ingrained in our lizard brain, right? So the limbic system, if we don't touch an open flame because we know it's going to burn, but that knowing is caused by the fear that it generates, the pain, and fear is directly related to pain. So in business, why would we have fear? Let's talk about the fear that people would have in launching a business, for example. So what is the fear there? The fear is associated with the pain that may result from failure. But then there's something called as self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So if you fear something because of the pain of whatever might happen, then in some ways you may actually make it happen, because your decision making will be channeled in such a way that you're trying to avoid pain, and your decisions are based on avoiding pain, which sometimes may actually lead you to that pain. Self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure most of you have watched The Matrix, at least the previous generation, right? And in The Matrix, the film Matrix, the first one, Neo, the protagonist, goes to visit the Oracle, right? So the Oracle, so this is within the Matrix. So he gets plugged in, he goes to this building where the Oracle resides. And the Oracle is going to tell him whether he is the one. Anyway, now when Neo goes there and he's entering this room, the Oracle is sitting there. The Oracle says, "Oh, don't worry about that vase," right? She says, "Don't worry about that vase." And this guy is like, Neo is like, "What vase?" And he just turns. In that process, his elbow knocks over a vase sitting on a table, falls to the floor and crashes. Now, that is a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So, of course, in this case, the Oracle knew that was going to happen. But then the question is, if she did not mention that, would Neo have turned around? Would his elbow have hit the vase? Would it have broken? That is the big question. And in your business, as in life, there are certain things that if you do not obsess over or fear, would you end up making those mistakes? Now, I know it's not that simple, because without fear, you could become reckless. So having fear is good, but then it has to be backed by courage. That's why they say courage is the most important thing in life. Now, that's not the same as bravery, although it's semantics, and some people might say, well, courage, bravery, they're the same. But let's talk talk about these words not from a semantic perspective, but from a kind of a philosophical and psychological perspective. Because at the end of the day, launching a business, running a business, making it a success is psychological. A lot of it is psychological. It's your state of mind, right? Successful business and entrepreneurs who run successful business, they have a state of mind which ensures the success. And failures, and yes, I'm okay to call failures as failures. You call a spade a spade. Of course, right now, people don't want to use the word failure and so on and so forth. But let's think about it. A failure is a failure, and the businesses that fail, the brands that fail, and are primarily, most often, because of the mindset of the people that run those businesses. So this self-fulfilling prophecy is something that I think it's worth every entrepreneur sort of thinks through and look at fear as something that is there to avoid pain. Because right now, it's not about nature, it's not about wild animals, it's not about that. It's about, okay, I'm going to start this business, and if it fails, oh my God, it's going to be, number one, embarrassing. Number two, I might lose whatever money I put into it, and I already don't have any money. I might have to borrow money, which means I'll be in debt and I will have an unsuccessful business or a failure. Caution is good, but thinking like that is nothing but pure fear. And fear, in this case, will be self-fulfilling, in the sense that even if you go ahead and start that business and you're so afraid that you will fail, you're so afraid that the business would fail, that your decision-making process is crippled, right? So you make decisions for the wrong reasons. You may decide to, price your products or services at a certain level because you're afraid that, the business might fail if you price it any higher. Or you may decide not to spend any money on marketing because you don't want to throw away the resources, and you're thinking that if the business fails, then it'll be wasted. Instead, if you look at it from an abundance mindset, if you think of this from an abundance kind of mindset, and I'm not talking about the new age mumbo jumbo, if you think positive, everything will be, great. No, thinking positive is good, but only to a certain extent. Calculated risks is what you need to take as an entrepreneur to be successful. In a brand, calculated risks are a must. Instead of that money you spend on, let's say, a launch party or something, or even a holiday, think carefully about what is it that you're fearing most to do in your business, right? So if you're already in business and it's not really going to the next level, or if you want to start a business but you're not doing it, think of what is holding you back. If you actually sit down and look through your expenses and your budget, you will see that you are spending money. Okay, and I'm not talking about that small percentage who don't have any money. That's fine, and they're not able to start a business. I understand that. I'm not saying that they should all take on debt and do it. No, most people do have some amount of money that they can spend or invest into a business, right? For a year or two, stop going on holidays, stop buying expensive clothes, stop going to expensive restaurants. You could use that money to better your business. Instead, even people with a lot of expendable cash, when it comes down to their business, they don't spend on their business because they're afraid. They're afraid that the business may fail, and they don't want to. Okay. Now I know I'm running around in circles, repeating the same thing. And the reason is because I really want you to understand the dynamics between fear, self-fulfilling prophecy, and business/brand. Because a brand is nothing but a business, and business is all about a brand. So if we take a step back and say, okay, let's look at two paths. The first path is someone starting a business, wants to start a business, and then we'll come to someone who's already in business and wants to take it to the next level. So the first set of audience who have a good idea and they've been thinking about it, but they haven't. What are the things that they fear and how can they mitigate them? Number one, the fear that their product or service people are not going to buy it. Now, how do you mitigate that? You mitigate that by, first of all, understanding who your target audience is. Spend time and effort. Forget about spending time and effort on improving your product or your service. No. The first thing you need to do is understanding your target audience, which means that you need to build buyer personas using archetypes. Okay? So this is psychographics. It's getting down to the level where you know one single person from your target audience as one single person. You give them a name, Joe, Jessica, whatever, right? And you know exactly what makes them tick. Not from the perspective of just your product or service, but in general, their worldview. What do they care about? Who are these people? Who is this person? What does he or she care about? What do they like? What do they dislike? What are their desires? What are their fears? Right? You need to understand your audience at that level. And you need to have these buyer personas or customer avatars really fine-tuned so that it is not some generic, 18 to 35-year-olds living in Texas making $50,000, which is good a year, which is good. But no, you need to go beyond that. So to mitigate the risk or the fear that your products will not be, people will not buy your product or service, start from understanding your target audience. Because when you understand them, when you define the psychology, then you look at it and say, okay, would they buy? If at that point you feel that definitely Joe, Jessica may not like this product, then look to who may like this product, right? So once you build these avatars, then it will inform you on whether that is the right set of avatars or you need to find a different set of audience. Okay, that's the first step. Next, you're looking at your message, because products or services, people don't buy them when, number one, it's a mismatch. That means you're throwing your product or service at a set of audience who don't either need it or don't care for it, right? One of the reasons. Of course, there could be other competitors in the market, someone like Amazon doing really a great job with your product. Then, of course, your product, people are not going to buy your product. It's going to be difficult. But let's assume that all things being equal, Amazon is not your competitor. Let's assume that. So if you understand your target audience, if you create the right kind of buyer personas, then you know whether they will like your product or not. Will they buy your product or not? If not, then you start thinking about who would. So you fine tune your target audience and then you go and reach out to that audience. So, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, of course, competition is very important. Competitors are important. I did a video on how to look at competitors and who your competitors really are. But just to step back to what fear does. The first fear is this. The second fear is that you invest or you spend money on your business and you don't have a return on investment, right? That's another big fear. And that one is not only for new business owners or someone who wants to start a new business, but also for someone who has been in business. And for them, equally as well as this, return on investment is quite a return on investment. Actually, when you're looking at it from the perspective of return on investment, you got to always think of the long game, right? Branding is the long game. Now, of course, if you are trying to start a business for a few quick bucks, then of course, I'm not the right kind of guy for you. These videos will just end up wasting your time. But let's say you're serious about building a brand, building a business, leaving a legacy, getting into that $1 million mark, all those things, all the good things about building a brand, which is, rewarding, not just in terms of money, but also rewarding to your soul. Then in that case, think of these investments as a long game, right? Think of them as a long game. And If the return on investment is causing you anxiety, if it's causing you fear, I don't want to market, I'm not spending any time on my content, for example, just because content takes a long time to give you return on investment, then I would say that is not a valid fear, right? Because it's a vicious cycle. You fear that the money you put into creating content, let's say, or content strategy, or any kind of blue ocean marketing or brand building, if you think that it's wasted because you're not going to get your money back ASAP, then actually you're self-sabotaging it. Because if you don't invest in creating content, for example, or any of the blue ocean strategies, then your business is going nowhere. And in fact, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's going to fail. So go for it, right? Now you might say, well, Mash, you know what? It's easier said than done, right? I got $10,000. That's all I have. And if I put in $2,000 out of that, $3,000 out of that on some content strategy, and I have to wait 6 months for it to really start working out, then in the meanwhile, I'm going to have cash flow problems, right? What do? I would rather jump onto social media without a strong brand, without a strong message, without a strong strategy, with no content, with no ideas, no message framework, and just, let's say, put $1,000 into Instagram ads or Facebook ads and hope to get some quick sales so that I will have a cash flow. And then once I have cash flow, I will then put the revenue into the proper kind of marketing. I'm telling you, that's never going to happen. Or at least in most cases, it won't happen. And this is based on my experience. Trust me, guys. Trust me, guys. I'm basing this on the hundreds of clients that I worked with over the years, right? From 1998, I've been building brands. And I'm not someone who just sits on their laurels, right? I'm constantly updating myself. I'm a brand strategist, right? So I give strategy. I create positioning strategies for small mom and pop companies, single person companies, all the way up to huge companies, right? You got ESPN and Target and the likes like that. And to be able to do that, I look at all kinds of budgets and pain points and target audiences and campaign derivatives, from $1,000 to $100,000 in terms of ad spend on a single campaign. So based on that, I'm telling you, this fear will take you nowhere. If you want to launch a business, if you want your business to go to the next level, if you want to hit that $100,000 mark, the $250,000 mark, the $500,000 mark, the $750,000 mark, the million and more, eventually you need to let go of this fear. Mitigate that fear and invest in content strategies. Keep doing that. In fact, it's not just about investing money, it's your time and effort. Let me ask you this question. If you're already having a business, right? You're an entrepreneur. What kind of content are you putting out there? I'm not talking about noise. I'm not talking about, just content for the sake of it and just adding to the already noise online. I'm talking about meaningful content that will help your target audience, so that you can then put your brand message out there in a way that appeals to your target audience, rather than sales messages, rather than simply posting messages on social media saying 20% discount just this Friday, guys, come and buy this product, right? Honestly speaking. So that is about mitigating in terms of would our target audience buy our products or not. If you build your message framework properly, if you do all the things that I always keep talking about, then that will not become a problem. You build target audience personas, buyer personas, it won't be a problem. Okay, what about the next fear, which is marketing and competing? Entrepreneurs are paralyzed with competition fear. They fear their competition. And therefore their decisions are reactive and they base themselves on the competition rather than forging their own path to a blue ocean. So that fear again is baseless. If your competition is running a new campaign, it's baseless, because if you look at it from an abundance mindset, then you will not be afraid of your competition. In fact, you won't even look at your competition. Your competitors will cease to have that impact on you. What is this abundance mindset? The abundance mindset is that you will always have your set of customers. If you have your own story, if you have your own strategy, and if you align with the worldview of your target audience, then you will always have your customers. You don't need your competitors' customers. Everyone can have their customers and, be successful, because that's what's happening. You look at any market segment, they're huge players and they're all in the same market space and they're all thriving. Of course, some of them maybe, it's a red ocean. There are sharks, they're fighting. But generally speaking, at our level, right? We're not the Spotify's or we're not the Netflix's, right? We're not the Apples of this world, right? We hope to get there one day, you and I. But right now we're not. And I'm assuming the audience of this video are getting started, right? Or maybe they've begun their journey, but they're still in the infancy of building their brands. In that case, this is the best way to do it. Okay, so this video has already crossed the 20-minute mark, and fear is not such a big topic. It's a very simple thing. It's a very simple thing. Do not be afraid. Today, right today, start off, right? Sit down, first of all, and say, how much money can I put aside that I can afford to spend and wait for the fruits for the next 6 months, for the next year? That amount, maybe it could be a credit card. You assign that credit card just for this purpose, with the hope that you will pay it off in 6 months' time when you start seeing results. It could be sooner, right? If you put in double the effort and you're doing the right things, you're focusing on the right things and not just, putting that money into Google AdWords or Facebook ads without having a robust brand first, a strategy first, a story first, then, all it takes is that credit card. Or it could be maybe some savings. But put that money into building the brand, into blue ocean strategies, into creating quality content. Put it out there and see the magic happen. Of course, it's going to take a lot of effort, grit. It's not easy. Nothing is easy. Right now, nothing is easy. No business is easy. No market segment is easy. And actually, it's getting tougher and tougher. But it's getting tougher for those people who are clueless, who are looking for quick wins. There is no such thing as quick wins. And if you're looking at marketing opportunities, courses online, or whatever that's offering you quick successes in business, quick passive income, you're just wasting money. Anyway, that's topic for another video. I'll start ranting now. I'll become the angry brand builder, right? I don't want to do that. It's Monday, and let's move forward with this on this positive note. Let go of your fears. Start today. Look at it from a third point perspective. Look at what are you fearing? Why you're fearing? What are you afraid of? And is it really? Do you have to be really afraid of that? How can you mitigate that risk? And is it self-fulfilling prophecy? Is that fear paralyzing you so that what you feared comes true and success, you don't have success because of that? Is that what's happening? All right. So if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and subscribe right now. I'll be sending out more videos talking about things that will make you a successful entrepreneur, build a successful brand, to awaken your brand if you're on that journey, right? Hit a like. And if you have any questions about this, leave them below. If you think that, I don't want to listen to more of this psychological mumbo jumbo, but I want to listen to more of branding principles, the kind of videos that I used to do a lot, let me know. But I think those are good, and there's a lot of videos that I've done, but I think I want to tackle the mindset going forward. I want to do more videos on the mindset, because that you can learn 1,000 things about a positioning strategy, but if your mindset is not right, then nothing is going to work. All right, till my next video, keep building your brand and prosper. See you in the next video.